Hello, Debbie Nicholson speaking, and it's afternoon. I can hear the birds outside. The weather's still not great, but never mind, that's okay. Now, day 14 today, and we've got quite a few to go yet. That's okay. Today I wanted to talk to you about being patient with others. I'm having to constantly remind myself to be patient because I'm so used to having the house to myself that there is nobody else to bother me, there is nobody else to interfere with what I am doing, there's no one to interrupt. And now I have my lovely man around and he wants to talk to me. And I might be in the middle of a webinar or a sentence or something creative. And I was so rude. I used to just keep looking at him and typing at the same time. It's called multitasking, but actually it's being rude. Because I didn't want to lose my train of thought, I thought at the time, but really I was just not being very kind. So I thought about my actions after I realised I was doing it. And now, whenever he wants to interrupt me, I think this is okay. I just close the sound down, I just stop typing, put the lid down so I can see him over it. Not enough to close off the work altogether, of course, but just so that I can look at him and give him my full attention while he's talking to me. Now, that requires a great deal of patience when you're a writer, because you often do not get the same train of thought back. I was writing an article the other day and I was just so into it, and I was up to page 4 of something. And I was thinking, this is fantastic. I got into the beginning of it, and something required that I had to stop and go and do something else. I think a webinar came on, and I had a reminder on my phone to stop what I was doing because I had to go and watch this webinar. And I thought, I'll come back to that. Well, it was a few days before I was able to get back to that same story. I hadn't got a clue what I was talking about in the opening sentence. I looked at the opening sentence and I thought, what on earth was I thinking about at the time? That doesn't even make sense. But at the time it made a lot of sense because I had this follow-on thought to go through later. So you have to have a lot of patience, not just with other people, but with yourself. It's all very well getting mad at yourself because you're not doing something on time, or not able to understand something and it's inhibiting your progress. But the more you get mad at yourself, guess what? The more you don't understand what you're trying to do. Because it just thinks, oh, well, she's angry, so we may as well make it worse. And so they do. Your thoughts and your inner self do make things worse for you. I don't think you realise just how important that inner self is to you, actually. I didn't realise until I found myself arguing with myself and realising that it gets grumpy. My inner self gets grumpy and sulky. Like that day I didn't go on the date with it. Wow. And another time I did that too. At the time I was a property, really into property. And I'd got my first block of flats and I was excited about that because I had 10 of them. And then the situation came up that I could buy a neighbouring property, and I thought, my daughter would love to live there because then she'd have her own space with her little baby and she wouldn't have us dominating her life. And so I went to all the things. I did all the feasibility study for it. I got all the finance worked out, how I would work that out. I got it all ready to the point where I could take it to the bank. And then right at the point when everything was done and all I had to do was go and say to the bank manager, can you please approve this? And I lost my courage because I knew I didn't have enough money, and I thought, where am I going to get the money to do this? And I started to have doubts, and I just stopped doing anything. Well, that was the very first time that I experienced my poor little spirit being so disappointed because we'd worked for weeks on this project together. And I was getting ideas from everywhere and, doing things I didn't even knew existed. I mean, a few years later I went to a course for a property academy, and they taught me things that I'd already known how to do anyway by myself. So anyway, I'm just letting you know that experience when you let yourself down is not a nice experience, because that time that person inside me didn't just sulk. That person felt aggrieved. It was a shocking feeling I went through over the next few weeks, even months. I can still remember the feeling of disappointment. It was a disappointment you cannot experience very often in your life, because it just leaves you so drained. And of course, the other day when I didn't go on the date, I should have remembered way back then what I'd gone through, because this time my inner self got sulky. And I thought, why am I putting myself through this? Because when your spirit is hurt, when your spirit feels let down, who are you letting down really? Isn't it your Heavenly Father who looks after you? And isn't He here to help you to get ahead in life, to do things? So look, you need to be more patient with yourself. Look after that inner self. If you want to be respected by it and have great use of the powers of your inner self, you need to have a lot of patience and go forward with your expectations and the things that they are teaching you, that the universe and your inner self is teaching you. So be really patient, alright? Don't start getting angry at yourself because you can't quite understand something. It's okay. It's just you've got a little block at the time. Go away and do something else and come back to it. Even go and have a little nap. You'll be amazed at how your mind will work on it while you're asleep. So that's the little message I wanted to talk to you about today. Now I'm going to tell you again that if you're on my whoisdebbienicholson.com site, please just click on one of the images and go through to my list. And if you're on my debsbigideamastermind.com site, well then click on any of the images and you'll go through to my Deb's Big Idea Mastermind sales funnel. And if you are on my KDeb Empower site, then please go through and click on any of the images and you'll go through to the Empower sales funnel. Alright, either way, on either of any of those three websites, you'll come onto my list and we'll get together and we'll be doing things together and we'll be going for the top. Okay, that's my intention anyway. Alright, okay, well I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye bye.